What's up, Wolfpakk? Another FORE game Fridays. So in today's video, we're going to talk about single leg squats, or some of you might know it as the pistol squat. Now, this exercise is super advanced and difficult. So in this video, I'm going to break it down and show you ways to progress up in order to be able to do that single leg squat. Single leg squats are really good exercise for teaching us and gaining that stability and that core strength, lower body strength, and really working those stabilizer muscles through our whole lower half. Now in golf, this is important because we want to be able to have a nice, solid, strong, stable stance, especially when we get in those tricky lies when our ball ends up in not the most ideal spot sometimes. So being able to be nice and solid and have that stability is going to come in hand and be super, super important in our golf game. Now for a single leg squat, we don't need much equipment at all. All we need is a bench, or if you don't have access to a bench right now, you can use a chair as well. And then a dumbbell, lighter dumbbell or kettlebell. Or if you, again, don't have access to equipment at all, we can use a heavier book or something of that sort that acts as our counterbalance for one of our progression steps. So our very first step that we want to get comfortable, nice and strong in is we're just going to be starting in a seated position on the bench or chair. Our upper body is going to stay nice and tall, core is going to be engaged, head forward, and then our one leg is going to come off the ground. And from here, all I want to do is try and stand up. So one leg off the ground, upper body tall, core is engaged, head forward, standing up. Reset, standing up. Now, I want you to try and keep in mind and pay attention to what's that knee doing as I'm trying to stand up? Am I shaking all over the place? Can I keep it strong and stable? Because we want to focus on keeping that knee over top of our toes. So again, when I'm starting in my seated position, upper body's nice and tall, core is engaged, one leg off the ground, head forward, standing up, keeping that knee over top of my toe. Again, keeping that knee over top of my toe, coming up to the top. And now, of course, we want to switch over to the other leg as well because we want to be equal on both sides. So we want to stay in this progression until you get nice and, doesn't matter how long it takes. We want to stay here till we get nice and solid and strong and then we'll move on from there. So once you feel solid, confident, nice and strong in both legs in that first progression, then we'll move on to the second one. And the second one is just going to be the opposite. So we're going to start from a standing position and work our way to a seated position. So again, one leg's going to come off the ground, core is engaged, upper body nice and tall, head forward, keeping that knee over my toe, coming down to the bench or chair nice and controlled. Standing back up, one leg off the ground, nice and tall, head forward, core is engaged, knee over my toe, nice and controlled on the way down. We don't want to just be here and falling to the bench. That's not going to do anything because we're going to gain that strength on that slow, controlled eccentric motion on the way down to the bench. So again, one more time, legs out, upper body nice and tall, head forward, core is engaged, knee over my toe, nice and controlled down to the bench. And again, we'll go back to the other leg as well. So we'll try for 5 to 8 reps per leg. And once you get nice and confident in this progression, then we're going to put the two together. And this is where our counterweight's going to come into play as well. So we're going to have a dumbbell or kettlebell or something a little bit heavier, like a heavier book or something of that sort, out in front of us. Now, this may seem like it's going to be harder because we're holding something, but really it's going to help us and really help us progress to that next stage with no weight at all, because this is going to act as our counterbalance and it's going to naturally keep our core engaged the entire time. So again, everything's the exact same. One leg off the ground, weights out in front, upper body nice and tall, core is engaged, head forward, keeping that knee over my toe, and we're just going to sit and then come back up. Nice and controlled, back up. Nice and controlled, back up. Now from here, of course, we're going to go both sides again, both legs so we get nice and strong. And now this stage may take you a little while, but like I said, any of the progressions, you may be in for a little bit, but that's totally fine because all we want is our end goal to be able to do that single leg squat. So we need to stay in these progressions as long as it takes in order to gain that strength and stability to work our way up. So it doesn't matter how long you're there, just as long as you're able to make that progress in order to get to the next stage. So try it as much as you need to. Each one the first one may take you way less time than the next progression, but it doesn't matter. We just want to stay in each one till we get nice and confident. So from here, once we're done with the counterbalance out in front of us, we want to try with no weight in front of us. So we can just have our arms there for a nice balance. Again, everything's the exact same. One leg off the ground, core is engaged, upper body nice and tall, head forward, that knee staying over my toe, nice and controlled through the movement. And then from there, this is where it starts to get real tricky and we're really going to get more and more difficult. So this is where we're going to get rid of the bench now. So again, we can progress this still with no bench by choosing our depth. So we can start with just coming down a couple inches and then eventually get lower, 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 and lower so that it's performed like a normal two-legged squat. So like just to give you guys an example, we'll be here, no bench at all this time. We can start with 2 to 3 inches coming down. So one leg off the ground, core's nice and tight, upper body tall, head forward, knees over my toe, nice and controlled. And then, like I said, we can go lower and lower and lower as we progress. And that's a single leg squat. So this is gonna, again, really gain that stability, nice, strong legs, gain that core strength, and work all those stabilizers in our lower half. So give it a shot, guys. Let me know what you think down in that comment section below. If you have any comments or questions or concerns, put those down in that comment section below as well. I'm always able to answer them. And drop a thumbs up if this video has helped you at all. Hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Friday.